Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to Partnerships for Profit. Today we are joined by Coach Kevin Voisin, who is the COO at Apogee and a leadership mentor. Coach Kevin, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
And I hope I pronounced that last name properly. That's a tricky one.
You nailed it. It's Cajun French, so no one, honestly, probably no one really knows, but Voisin is the thing. So you got it. Thank you.
So Coach Kevin, can we start out? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your role at Apogee?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm the COO over at Apogee Strong. That's apogeestrong.com. We have a network over 175 schools around the U.S. because as entrepreneurs, we saw that the school system was going the wrong way. And rather than bitch about the problem, we decided to be the solution. So it was just a couple of years ago, we had one school and thought, man, this would be great around the whole U.S. And at this point, we have schools around the U.S. and Australia, Canada, and more. So we've been really trying to give a different way of learning. Like, how do you teach an entrepreneur from young rather than making him learn the school system and then unlearn all of that to make his business work, right? I wish there was just a list of things, and when you check them all off, your business worked. I mean, that'd be great. Even with ChatGPT, we haven't gotten to that level, but it's just not like that. And so we're trying to prepare young leaders to lead on purpose with their entrepreneurial minds, with their, through education for the whole family. And included in that is a program for men and women of personal development, because if you really look at it, right, personal development is just education grade 30, grade 35, grade 40, right? We don't talk about it in those terms, but personal development becomes an educational avenue. And so we do that as well.
And can you tell me, what was the point, where you sort of realized that there was a need for something like Apogee Strong?
So I'm going to go way back when I used to run a marketing firm. So I was running a marketing firm and I thought that I was a marketer. And I'm helping all these companies with their marketing. And I remember coming into a particular client. They had a big check for me. It was like a $30,000, initiative. And at that time, it was a lot of money. It felt like. I walked in, she hands me the check and I said, "Hey, you are going to love what I have for you." And her response was, "Hey, do you love it?" "Yeah." "Okay, cool. Because I trust you. Do you mind if we just talk about my life and marriage? Because things are going off the rails. The company's doing great, but I feel like you have this great insight on my life. And somehow every time we talk about that, my business gets better." And I remember thinking, like, you just handed me a $30,000 check and said, "Hey, I trust you with that. Want to talk about this thing over there." And in my mind, I realized, oh my gosh, like, yeah, okay, I'm doing marketing for these people, but they're just having me do the marketing to get me in to coach them on how to help their life to work. Because the truth is, if you're a real entrepreneur, you are your company. And so if your life is completely broken, your company will also be broken and hemorrhaging. And so for me, that was the moment I was like, oh, wow, like your whole life matters, period. And that spills over into your business, that spills over into every aspect of your life. And so that's when I realized, okay, there's life and business are not separate.
Right.
And coaching entrepreneurs, coaching adults to take their next level will improve, therefore, their output in every aspect, in family and faith and in finance and everything else.
Yeah. Well, and as a leadership mentor, I know that you are known for waking sleeping giants. And I was sort of hoping you could define that for us and, tell us a little bit about how did you cultivate that reputation? I mean, that's a great thing to have said, right?
It is. I'm proud of that. Yeah. I mean, I wake the sleeping giants. That's what I do. I think it starts with one part, never really being too impressed with celebrity or money. And second part, having a drive to just tell the truth at all cases. And so if you're really an honest, authentic person, you end up speaking truth to power a lot, not because it's particularly fun or particularly exciting, but it's just who I am. And I started really early on doing a lot of live event work. That's where I got most of my clients, was doing powerful live events with 20 to 30 men and women at the same time. And the thing is, there's so many times when you walk in the room and someone says something and we all know it's bullcrap. Like, we all know that's not true. It's like, hey, why is your business struggling? Right. And the person may even be drunk at that moment. And he's like, I don't know. And we all know it's like, hey man, you're drunk. Like there's a power in being able to say that, right? And being able to say, hey, well, could it be this thing that we all see in the room with you right now? Like, how about we talk about that thing? How about we say the silent part out loud? And I'll tell you that even this education for me is an extension. This education program in schools is a way to wake the sleeping giant of the true leaders of America. And that started with me. That started with myself, right? Like waking the sleeping giant of me. Of, hey, let's go live to our full potential.
Right. Well, and as a leadership mentor, when you are, working with businesses, what are some of the common pain points and problems they're experiencing that you're sort of helping them resolve and overcome?
So I can tell you this for anyone who's listening, before this is over, I will tell you 100% how to be perfect. Okay. And this is the number one issue. People want to figure out how to be perfect. I'll cut to it. I won't make you wait till the end of the podcast. Here's the secret. In one word, how to be perfect, either as an entrepreneur or as a father, or as a mother, any way you want it. Here's how to be perfect. Are you ready? Lie. Like just lie. It's why people are perfect on Instagram really easily, because it's easy to lie, right? Here's my true self with a filter and an AI touch up and an angle and a suck in. And look, we all do it, right? It's the positioning of who we are, but perfection is a lie, right? And so that doesn't mean there's no value in perfection. Now, here's where this gets really interesting, right? Perfection is a lie, but perfection is a wonderful standard. It's a great standard to set for yourself. Perfection works a lot like the horizon, right? If you walked from wherever you are, all the way across the country, I can walk from Los Angeles to New York at all times, right? Barring something weird, I can see the horizon. If you're a pilot, I used to be a sport pilot, but I wasn't very good at landing, so I let that go. I could fly really well, but the landing is a very important part. So I let that go. But knowing where the horizon is incredibly important. And yet, in a million miles of flying, guess what? You'll never touch. You'll never touch the horizon. Perfection is a lot like that. It's a lot. Anyone who looks and puts out there that they're perfect, they're lying to you. They are not perfect. Now, it's a great standard, though. You can see what perfect would be, and let's just get closer and closer to it. Use that as a waypoint in your life. Beautiful, right? And so perfection is a lie, and balance is bullshit. That's the other thing right now. Like if you're 22 and you want to be a successful entrepreneur and your main focus is work-life balance, someone's telling you some lie. Like that is, you have a problem. You have a problem. I was 22 starting a business and having a kid. Let me tell you something else. Having a kid is not a balanced endeavor. If you've ever had a kid, your life gets completely out of balance, but that's fine because you're doing something worthwhile. Right. It's not about balance. It's about harmony. Like what song are you singing? If you're singing a song, there's times when you got to be really loud, really intense. And then there's times you need to pause and be silent. And that makes the overall song happen. It's not about like, let's make sure all the bass notes match with the high notes, match with the drums in perfect balance. No, it's not about, what song are we singing? Is it a march or is it a lullaby? Those are two different things. And if you can sort that out, man, you can make huge progress as an entrepreneur, but even as a human being.
Right. And that's a fantastic analogy. And, I'm curious because you talk about this notion of being powerfully imperfect. And how are you helping people be powerfully imperfect?
Because perfection is a lie, but excellence is achievable, right? In other words, just because perfection is a lie doesn't mean now, get out of jail free card. Well, I'll never have the perfect body, so let me just go get fat, sit on the couch, and try to watch Netflix to enlightenment. That's my favorite. Like you're not going to YouTube yourself to greatness. I mean, it might give you some ideas, it might push you in a little direction, but at the end of the day, you got to go do some things. And so you can embrace that powerful imperfection. Like you can embrace the idea that, hey, I'm never going to be perfect, but I can imperfectly do all sorts of things. Do I have a perfect marriage? Hell no. Do I have a powerful marriage? Yes. Would I trade my marriage with any other marriage on the planet? Absolutely not. But is it perfect? Far from it. Far from it.
Right. And so that's interesting that there's, and embracing that imperfection, business owners can find that power, but I guess I'm curious is what does the flip side of that coin look like if a business owner, does not accept, that things are never going to be perfect and they're always chasing that horizon. What does that look like?
Yeah. So what happens? So there's kind of two main paths. I mean, of course, there's always more than two, but number one, they start lying a lot, which is what you see a lot online, right? You just see, I mean, I've worked with a lot of really powerful coaches. I mean, some of the best on the planet. I've been like the number 3 guy who actually runs the event. You have the title guy who has pictures on everything. There's the other guy who everyone knows also, who's kind of, and then I'm the third guy. I'm the guy people show up in the organization like, wait, who are you? Right. And then I deliver 6 months of powerful coaching on the backside. I've been that for many different coaches. Okay. And what you start to see when you're intimately involved with them is their problem. And you're like, oh, okay, well, actually, you're not perfect. You just hide this, this, and this. And then they all have a different one. Here's the thing. We all have one, right? We all have one. Like and what I started to realize is, like, instead of hiding that, what if we just embrace that? Like, what if we say, like, hey, I can be a great mindset coach for you, but you probably don't want me as your nutrition coach, because that's where I'm really lacking. Like, I am not dialed on this thing. So, hey, follow me over here 100%, but over there, no way. So either guys start lying and pretending, right? Or what you see is they start obsessing about trying to close the gap. So let's say that like their processes are 98% optimized. So I'll take you to my grandfather. My grandfather was a NASA engineer, project manager, right? Wow. So he loves this precision stuff. Now he took that back into seafood. So early in my career, I was an 8th generation oysterman. We had a processing plant for oysters. And he had automated so many things because he had this really cool, engineering ability. But by the end of his career, we used to literally give him projects outside. We'd be like, hey, you should build this new barge. Why? Because anytime he walked through the plant, he would stop the whole process because he had figured out how to get a 1% gain in a conveyor belt. Well, guess what? If you shut down the conveyor belt for 3 days, that 1% gain is not like the 3 days lost. It takes you 4 years to get it back at 1%. It's not worth it. Like, we should just know about it. And if I guess next time it breaks, we'll fix it. Right. You'll see guys doing that where they're constantly trying to hone in to 100%. When the truth is that thing you see that's 99%, you probably could leave that alone and go find something else that's like 40% or 20%. And a lot of times that might be at home, or that might be your physical health, right? Like, as entrepreneurs, often there's always trade-offs, but they don't understand that trading their health or trading their family for business. Could you do that for a season? Yes. But seasons end. Right? How do you know it's a season? Well, it ends. So when is the end? If you don't know the end, that's not a season. That might be a new state of being. And the state of being of trading your health and family for business will destroy your business. Because guess what? What happens when you get divorced? Maybe half your business is gone. Or what happens when you have a heart attack? Right? What happens to your business then? So, again, a season of a trade, yeah, cool. But when does that season end? That's how you know. And embracing powerful imperfection lets you say, hey, this is good enough to ship. Right. I once met one of the executive producers of Law and Order. Right. Law and Order, back when I was younger, was a huge show. I mean, I don't even know how many Law and Orders there were. Right. And I was sitting next to her and I said, look, what do you think is the secret? Like, you guys have nailed TV, right? Like, I mean, they've got it. And she said, the whole thing is, as we're going through our production, we say GEFT. I'm like, GEFT, what is that? Like, she said, good enough for TV. She's like, yes, we want it excellent, but we're not making high art movies. We're making, is it good enough for TV? That's what we're trying to produce. And then we springboard from there. And I think more people today could benefit from that. Like, hey, is this good enough to ship? Ship it. And then sure, take the next step next time. Right. But you could, I mean, man, so many entrepreneurs are like working on the perfect product, but they have no customers.
Right.
Man, ship a slightly inferior product, have a bunch of customers, then ship the next one. I mean, hey, even if you want to ship it for free, that's better than having the perfect product with no customers.
Well, and what are some of the strategies that you teach business owners to sort of help them set those realistic expectations for their business and their goals? And I guess furthermore, how do you help them get their goals and their priorities and relationships in alignment? Because all that has to be fairly aligned, right?
So it's going to sound, I love this question, because what I'm going to say is going to either sound genius or stupid, depending on who you are. And I'm okay with that. Okay. But this is the reality. First, can you tell the truth? And then second, can you tell the truth about where you really want to go? So can you tell the truth about where you are? Can you tell the truth about where you really want to be? One problem I see. So entrepreneur shows up to a mastermind. He's at a table with 4 other entrepreneurs. And this guy's monthly revenue is 20 grand a month, right?
Yeah.
And then the other 3 guys at the table are talking about 1,500,000, 200,000 a month, right? Now it's his turn to talk. This guy's going to feel a tremendous amount of pressure to lie about what his monthly revenue is. Why? Because it's embarrassing. He's like, man, I'm like 1/20th of these guys, right?
Right.
When you make that mistake, as soon as you do that, you're playing pretend with those guys. Here's guys, look, to get to 500,000, 2 million, whatever, they at some point were at 20 grand. But if you don't tell the truth, they can't help you, because what will they help you with? They'll help you with the truth. They'll help you with the advice of the imaginary place you just pretended you are. Which advice about 200,000 a month isn't very useful if you're at 20,000 a month. Right. I had one time, and I had a business venture one time and there was a billionaire involved, and I was so excited about it. And then I really quickly learned that, like, when you're a billionaire, you have like 2 million in reserve. But if you're running a bootstrap startup that has 20 grand in the bank, those strategies aren't real good. Like, what you can do with $1 million in the bank is different than what you can do with 20 grand in the bank. Right. And so a lot of entrepreneurs don't tell the truth to themselves, which is the worst thing, but also to their staff or to the people who are helping them. And so now we're playing pretend. You know, if you can tell me really where you are, and then you tell me where you really want to go, we can draw a map. And so let's imagine you're in Miami and you want to get to Atlanta. Pretty easy to draw that map. But if you're pretending you're in Miami and you're actually in Galveston, Texas, the map we draw will be completely accurate for what you said, but it'll be completely useless to deliver the result because, hey, you're not really in Miami. Alternately, if you don't really say where you want to go, you'll have the same problem.
Yeah. And I mean, I love that you use these great analogies that makes these sort of abstract concept really, understandable. It's great. I love it. And I'm curious, when you are working with a business owner, business leader, and you're kind of mentoring them and guiding them, is your approach and strategy to that, is it sort of a one size fits all approach, or is everything that you're doing and these strategies you're building, is it all very custom tailored to the individual business and their needs?
Yeah. So the answer to that is both, meaning it has to be custom, because one size fits all is stupid. Right. What's the problem with health and nutrition right now? It's like we're in different places. Like if you're an elite football athlete who's been playing every day of his life for the last 10 years, well, your body's going to work different than the guy who's 400 pounds overweight and hasn't exercised in 20 years. Those are two different systems, right? Now, you're going to need the same things. And this is why I say the one size fits all. One size fits all for categories, sure, because you're going to need nutrition. You're going to need output, right? Input, output, and then you're going to need to monitor your health and those markers. You're going to need metrics. Those metrics may be the same, but what gets the needle to move is ultimately always going to be customized, right? And I think that's so important is, there's certain things that are the same. So for me, what I'm going to do with an entrepreneur first thing is we're going to look at finances. We're going to look at fitness. We're going to look at faith, meaning whatever you believe in, there's no requirement. And maybe even atheist is fine. Well, then you better believe in yourself. If you're an atheist, cool, then you better believe in your own abilities, right? We're going to look at whether or not you can have fun, like whether or not you're enjoying your life, because that is a big piece of this. It's fitness, faith, family, finance, and fun. And we're going to look across those areas and say, hey, what is working and not working? Right. So many people get hung up in right and wrong. What's the right thing to do? Let me tell you, in business, like there's no right thing. You can make lots of money as Saks Fifth Avenue. You can make lots of money as Walmart. Now, Walmart better not act like Saks, and Saks better not act like Walmart, or they're going to lose something. But it's what it's really about is like, who am I really? What really works for me? And how do I move forward? So there's a standard approach, but that's going to look radically different for each client. For my coaching, I'm not trying to make you look like me or make you look like some ideal, which I think in the first place would be a lie. It's like, hey, what works for you and what would make you more? Where are you really? And where do you actually want to go? right?
Yeah.
And it's there's some entrepreneurs out there that you might want to just get real. Like maybe you don't actually want to make a bunch of money. You might just want to be internet famous and get girls. Or maybe you just want to impress, like you just want to impress your dad because he said you'd never mount anything. And you're like, I'm going to shut my dad up. As petty as that sounds, if that's really what you're doing, you'll get a ton of inspiration and power from just admitting that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't like to do that. We all like to talk really high-minded, right? You know?
Can you define for us, you kind of have this consistent message, and I was hoping you could kind of define it for us a little bit more. This notion of nobody is coming to save you. I mean, that message hits pretty hard, right?
Yeah, you don't have to be in business very long to know that nobody's coming to save you. I'll tell you, here's the number one scenario that will immediately, like if you're a new entrepreneur especially, but even if you've been in it for a while, go to your next gathering with your friends, right? Like let's say you have 10 friends, you're at a bar or a restaurant, you're sitting around a table, and you tell them, hey guys, I'm thinking about putting out an album. Like I've been singing at night. It turns out I'm pretty good at rap. I'm going to put out an album. Would you buy it? And guess what they're going to say? They're all going to say yes, because they're your friend and you're out. And hey, whatever. What does an album cost, right? Cool. Those are your friends. They got your back, right? Now, let's rewind. We're going to play the same scenario. You come to the same bar. You're sitting at the same table. And at some point in dinner, you pull out your backpack and you put your CDs on the table and be like, hey, this is my new LP, $30 a pop. Who wants one?
Right.
I guarantee you first that whoever actually buys one, they're your real friend, especially without listening to it. But it's going to feel different. That's a different thing. And there's no one coming to save you. You either have something of value or not. There's so many people who are waiting for the government to save them, or they're waiting for this industry to save them, or they're waiting for this strategic partner, or this customer said he would. No, it's all on you, man. Like, welcome to being an entrepreneur. You wanted that CEO after your name. Awesome. Well, then you just got all the problems that come with that, right?
Yeah.
Nobody gets in the business to get sued. Nobody gets in the business to, sell a bunch of product, then have the laws change where now you can't sell that same project. Nobody gets into business to, get the biggest contract they've ever got in their life, only to have the supply of that thing completely disappear from the earth. Like, these are all things that really happen. Cool. Right. You wanted to be CEO because you wanted to figure that out.
Yeah.
If you didn't, then you would just be working for someone else, and that would be their problem. And you would not participate in the reward at the same level. And that's okay too. Look, nothing wrong with being an employee at all. But it's really, again, it's just really like, can you get honest?
Right.
Can you get honest with yourself? Like, I think a lot of entrepreneurs have a hard time just sitting alone with a whiteboard and writing really where they are and writing really where they want to go, and then set that map. I have a lot of clients get excited about a sale, and it's always like the I just signed $1 million contract. Now you want to have some fun next time. Well, you might lose a friend. This is the kind of fun I have. So this is the Wake the Sleeping Giants. They don't all like being woken, by the way, just for that. But if next time someone tells you they just did $1 million deal, say this: hey, send me a screenshot of that deposit. That's an easy thing to do, right? We all have bank apps. You can just screenshot the $1 million that came in. What you'll find, and after coaching so many people, is some version of like $13,000 to $30,000 is going to come in, and with an explanation of, oh, no, but it's like $1 million over 2 years. Cool. Right. Nothing wrong with that. Like, that's exciting, but like, why not get excited about the 13K? If your business is playing at the $1,000, $2,000 level, then you should be really excited about a $5,000 sale. If your business is playing at the $1 million level, the $5,000 sale can disappoint you. Here's the fun thing. It's all the same. It's a different number of zeros on the end, but like, if you play where you really are, you can dominate where you really are, which means you can graduate to the next level.
Yeah.
If I'm playing thousands and I'm pretending millions, I'm going to get hosed, because those are such different games. I hear here's something. If you'll let me riff,
please.
So many people are trying to optimize before they've executed. They're trying to optimize their business and they haven't shipped one thing. I'm like, you can't optimize what's not out there. Right. Like, in order to optimize running, guess what? I'd have to run and then see what happened. And that might be terrible. Great. Stop trying to optimize before you've executed. Like, first put it out, first get it done. Then, maybe get it done 3, 4, 5 times, so you have kind of a bigger sample set. then start optimizing.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to build it right. I want to do it right the first time, so there's never any problems. Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, if you're that guy,
Right.
you know, I mean, I've never seen a single person. You pick your business mogul. None of them got it right the first time. What makes you better than them? You won't be.
Right.
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 You cannot optimize before you execute. Another way of saying that is you can't edit before you write.
Right.
Write, then edit. Don't try to edit and write at the same time.
Absolutely. See, again, that's right there. These perfect analogies to sum up these abstract concepts. I love it. You know, and I'm curious, when you think back, you know, whether through Apogee, whether, you know, other leadership mentor, you know, leadership role, you know, in mentorship role, when you think back on all of the individuals, the clients, the businesses that you've been able to help throughout your career, is there one that stands out in your mind of a person or a business that you really saw a positive outcome and transformation in as a result of your help and guidance?
Man, yeah,
I know, loaded question, right?
There's so many. I mean, truly, there's so many of them. The one that stands out right now, right? And this is just one. I'm thinking of Mike Trabolsky. He's at Apogee Apex. He's a guy who came in just for personal coaching, ended up opening a school, and they're killing it right now out in North Carolina, right? Wow. So I don't know how many students they have now, but last heard was almost 30 students from an idea of like, hey, maybe I'm going to do this one day, right? Yeah. And what's exciting to me about Mike is he did all of that while strengthening his marriage, while his fitness got better, while he was having more fun in life, while his bank account got better, and also connected that to purpose and went from like, maybe I can start this school to dozens of clients and actually a thriving school. How? Because he got his head in the clouds on what was possible and his feet in the mud on what needs to happen. Right. And all of the big arcs, all of the, I can think of a couple right now, and I won't say their name, that when I met them, I thought, man, this relationship, wow, like, I don't even know if we can help. And now they're one of the strongest relationships I know. Why? They got head in the clouds on what was possible, and same time, and this is the hard part, feet in the mud of where we really are.
Right.
Head in the clouds, we want a great relationship. Feet in the mud, not sure we really want to live together right now. That's tough to reconcile, right? But that is what it takes. Like, can you get your feet in the mud of what's the next? What can I do today? What can I do this hour? What can I do right now? Right. And when you do that, really cool stuff starts to happen. But you got to admit which mud you're in, and you got to admit which place you want to go.
You know, whether through Apogee or, you know, whether through your, you know, mentorship, I mean, everything that you're doing is about helping people. It's about, you know, helping businesses, helping business leaders, helping individuals. Is that drive to help others, is that something that's just innate to your character, or is that something that you've cultivated along the way?
Look, the purpose of my life is I'm light in the night, awake the sleeping giants. It's what I've always done. It's who I've always been. I'm not afraid to go in dark places. I'm not super impressed with what you say you have. I'm very impressed with who you really are, no matter who that is. And so, yeah, I think it's just fundamental to who I am. I think I had an incredible father who taught me how to help people up. When he died, all of his friends thought he was his best friend. You know, that we literally had to go to a different church because our church wasn't big enough to hold the funeral. You know, but just because he really had that servant's heart, he refused to call anything an industry, and he called it a community. So, hey, it's people helping people. That's how we make things happen. That's what our unique offer is as a human being. And so I think I learned really early on from him that's what I wanted to be, and that's what I wanted to do. And it's been easy for me to take that on. I love it. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, you know. And I like reminding people, like, we talked about how there's no one coming to save you, right?
Right.
But equal to that is I'm a force of nature. Me, Kevin, Coach Kevin, I am a force of nature. Like, if I'm around, you will reckon with me, right? If I'm swimming in miles deep water and the Leviathan is there, the Leviathan's got to deal with me too. Hey, he's bigger than me. He can eat me, but he's going to have to swallow me. And that's not going to be fun for him, I hope. I'm going to make it as unpleasant as possible, right? Here's the thing, though. I don't believe that, meaning I'm this amazing. You too are a force of nature. Every single one of you, anyone hearing this, you are a force of nature who has the unique abilities that I could never dream of having, right? There's one of you.
Right.
One of the banes of modern existence is everything has become this weird statistical, well, there's a 90% chance that'll help you. Well, not if you're in the 10%, then there's 0% chance. Like, you got to figure out who you are, what your talents are. And yes, for sure, in life, can you be a victim? For sure. Life can knock you on your ass. Like, you're out there in life is just a giant swirling ocean. There's waves that'll toss you, they'll throw you. Some of us, though, go through life like pretending like all we have is a life preserver. And it's not true. Like, we're on a surfboard. Like, and you can pretend you can use a surfboard as a life preserver. You can, and you'll be miserable because that must be what you want to be. But I can't surf, but I can paddle, and I can get on that thing and lay down, and I can realize that, hey, inside of this sea of waves, I have something that I can exert. I have this belief, which is not backed up by any science, but it's just something fundamental to me, that the uncertainty and the uncertainty principle is me, is my will. Is the will of the thing, is the will of the thing. And I can be that uncertainty. I can come into a situation, no matter how small I am, and I can decide, how do I move in this, and how am I going to let it move me, right? And that's I think what people forget. It's like, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, bad things happen, but you can happen also.
That's amazing. And I love ending on that note. That is a perfect lesson to take away. One of many fantastic analogies that we've gotten through this conversation. Coach Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. If anybody out there listening could use the help of Apogee, could use your help and guidance, where can people find you?
Yeah, check out apogeestrong.com. We've got a program just for fathers called apogeestrongdads.com, a program for women called apogeewoman.com. And all sorts of other things. The bottom line is, you can find me at It's Coach Kevin on any platform. And really, if I had anything to say to anyone listening, is what's one thing you could do right now? One thing in the next 5 minutes that would push you forward. Anything. That goal that you want. That thing that you've been saying, oh, I'm gonna. What's something you can do in the next 5 minutes? Do that. Maybe it's just a text message. Maybe it's just writing a note. Maybe I don't know what it is. But until you'll do that thing, the big thing has no chance.
That's amazing. Coach Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an incredible conversation. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much for joining.
Appreciate you.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Partnerships for Profit, presented by LeDuc Entertainment. Coach Kevin, thank you so much again.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.